When I tell y'all it is extremely cold outside, it is extremely cold outside, and you and I need to be in a place where we are warm. And I'm praying for all those people who are outside and, due to circumstances, find themselves in that predicament. And thank you for all the shelters that are open and are providing shelter and a safe place for those individuals who are weathering this storm. So we're praying as a group, as a community, that these storms can truly be weathered the way that they need to be weathered. Let me get here. Last night, disrupted by the storms. And we understand how the storm totally disrupts us. So we're grateful and thankful for that, and the outlines that have been providing, that are being provided for us. Yes. As y'all are coming in the chat, let me know how y'all are doing. You're warm, you're safe, you're sane, you're saved. This storm has really disrupted our commute, disrupted the crew, as we talked about that on yesterday. And not only did it disrupt the crew and the commute, it finally disrupts the cabin. Who's in the cabin? The cabin. The waves beat into the ship, verse 37. They beat into the ship. The waves, which was the thing that you were riding over. Everybody put over in the chat. The thing that you were riding on. Three prepositions. Over, on is now in. The thing that you were riding over, the thing that you were riding on is now in. That's just a good place to just raise that relevant question using the Hegelian method. When the thing that you were riding over, the thing that you were riding on now gets in. Through the circumstances of life, there are some times where what we were riding over, what we were riding on, will get in. And it said the waves. It identified what the thing that was once pushing you and propelling you is the thing now that has become problematic. What do you do when the ministry, which pushed and propelled, becomes problematic? What do you do when your ambitions that pushed and propelled you become problematic? What do you do when relationships that pushed and propel you become problematic? That's where we are in this passage, verse 37. The thing that they were riding on and over is now in. The waves. The waves. And it said what the waves did, they beat into the ship. The water that was once outside is now the water that's inside. Beat into the ship. And the last time I checked, the last records of some famous ships where water got on the inside, that ships, or those ships, sank. I'll say it again. Just look it up. Famous ships where water got into the boat, and the demise of that ship hurriedly came because the thing that they were riding over, the thing that they were riding on, now got in. And you and I can look back over seasons of our life when our ship was full, but it didn't sink. You thought you was going to go down. You thought you was going to surrender. You thought you was going to wave the white flag. You thought God wasn't going to show up. You thought it wasn't going to come through. You looked in your pocket. You had more month than you had money. You had more bills than you had bill. and you thought you were about to sink. You didn't have the joy that you didn't think you were going to have. You didn't think you were going to have the wherewithal and the resilience, but you didn't sink because the water that was on the outside got on the inside. This was not just an external problem. It became an internal one. And this is how life works sometimes. The storm that was on the outside now becomes the storm on the inside. So it starts messing with your peace. It starts messing with your sleep. It starts messing with your confidence. It starts messing with your faith. It starts messing with your outlook, because the thing that you were riding over, the thing that you were riding on, is now in. The cabin was supposed to be a place of safety, but now it's filling with fear. And here's the danger of fear. Here's the danger of fear. Here's the danger with fear. Somebody put, what is the danger of fear? Here it is. It begins to control the way you and I think. That's the danger with fear. It begins to control the way we think. We start thinking a certain way. We start doing things a certain way. We start living a certain way. We start saying things that we probably shouldn't say. Job's wife was full of fear, and she came to the resolve, cuss God and die. She told her two things: cuss God, then die. She told Job to become a masochist. She didn't say, let God take you out, let circumstances take you out. She told him to will himself to death. That's a word right there for somebody, because somebody in this particular chat is going to will themselves to death because they are driven by fear. Mm-hmm. The problem, that's a problem, major problem. I'm landing my plane, and I'll come back with part 3 tomorrow. The turn, how to survive the storm. When you allow the outside to determine your inside, you don't survive the storm. When you allow the outside to determine your inside, it's hard to survive the storm. Let me repeat that. It's very difficult to survive the storm when the outside determines the inside. How to survive the storm, part 2. It disrupted the cabin. It disrupted the crew. And now it has disrupted the commute. We'll look at those next few verses and see how in the disruption God was able to deliver. Hey, until tomorrow, peace and blessings.